Hey, welcome to Graphic Policy Television, GPTV. I'm Brett. In my hands is the Marvel Multiverse Role-Playing Game, Cataclysm of Kang Adventure. This is actually pretty cool. So its lead writers Matt Forbeck. Writers also include Jess Scoble and Devinder Thiara, Elisa Teague, B. Dave Walters, and Marty Forbeck. All right, so for those who don't know, the Marvel role-playing game is a role-playing game set in the Marvel Universe. There's been a rulebook that has been released, and this is the first adventure to come out. For role-playing games, for those who are completely unfamiliar with them, basically it's tabletop game. You've got a game master who tells the story, and a bunch of players who act things out as characters. You can create your own characters, or you can use pre-generated characters, including some of Marvel's most well-known characters. So what's an adventure? And this adventure takes you through basically a storyline. This storyline involves Kang, who, well, in an alternate Marvel universe, not part of the 616, trying not to give away the total story, Kang is off doing what he's doing, which is destroying universes. It's not quite what he does, but in this one, that's what he's doing. And your story will eventually have you going up against this version of Kang. And I'm not going to give too many details because it's really, really cool where everything goes. What's interesting is this adventure is broken up, or how it's broken up. I think it's actually really, really cool. So obviously in the beginning is a bunch for the game master taking you through what you need to know, and then there's 6 chapters. Each chapter, kind of like an issue is what it is called, takes you through a story, and it basically builds from street level to galactic threats. So you start off at level 1, and I think you eventually get to like a level 6. And what's neat is each chapter is broken up in that you can play it by itself, or you can play it all together as what's known as a graphic novel and tell the complete story and well, enjoy the adventure. And I think what's really neat is the options that you have here. Having kind of read through a bunch of it to get the mechanics of how it all works, is you can go into each chapter and you can pick the heroes it suggests. So like maybe the first chapter is more street level stuff, like maybe there's Daredevil, I don't know, there was more like New York City based. And then by the end, the final chapter, like one of the characters is Jean Grey that's suggested, and Black Bolt, and more of like the heavy hitters. Now you can go and do that, or you can take your character and start off with chapter 1 and play through the final chapter, you know, gaining abilities and strength throughout. You could take an existing character and do that, or you can do your own character and do that, or even go and create your own character for every single chapter. You don't need to do the same character with each chapter, which I think is a really kind of cool option. So you can dive in and out of the story. You can just play one chapter. You can play them all. That gives you a lot of options, and I think that's really, really neat. On top of that, you have the intro for the Game Master. There's all the info and the issues that play out. So there's 6 more chapters of that. And then finally, the final chapter, chapter 8, is all about the characters with lots of new profiles for those characters. So it really does like dive and give you tons of info that you need to play the game. And I think that's really, really cool. So to me, and it comes away from the first the actual main guide as well, is that this feels like a role-playing game that's very focused on new players as well as longtime fans. There's like kind of like an ease about it that for me so far diving into it seems to be much easier to get into this, understand what's going on, and like pick things up than a lot of other role-playing games. And I think that's actually pretty cool. It's something I'm kind of would look for in a role-playing game, which I think is solid. It also there's tons of art in it. There's art from Riari Coleman, Sean Isaacsi, Paco Medina, and Jesus Abertov. So you're gonna see a lot of art that maybe fans would recognize. And it's a pretty long page. I think there's like over 250 pages. About 250 pages, somewhere around that. Yeah, there's over 250 pages. So as I said, it's kind of broken up in chapters. You know, this is the beginning, ready for your adventure, talking through what's up. The big stuff to know is like it takes you through everything. You know, the basics. There's things like maps in here, the storylines, the villains that you'll deal with. It's everything from Hydra to mobsters, We don't want to do that. That's going to be a spoiler. It's going to be a really cool spoiler. There's some classic villains like the Wrecking Crew. It's cool. This is actually really, really neat. And I like how they've put this together. Partially because it really kind of takes, I think, what works about comics and comic stories and takes them and puts it into role-playing games. The fact that you can go and pick up a chapter and just play that adventure and be totally fine with it, I think is cool. To be able to take those same adventures and play them all the way through, I think is really neat. It's just a very flexible system, and it seems to be a very flexible book. So I kudos to them. Like this is a great first release, I think. So yeah, I'm intrigued to see where this all goes. The next release will be based off the X-Men. I don't believe it's an adventure. I think it's just like a straight-up source book. At least that's kind of what the title seems to be so far. So I'd expect way more info about the X-Men specifically. So character profiles, locations, vehicles, all that sort of stuff. Maybe how mutations work. To be able to play mutants more in the game. So it's going to be really interesting to see how that release plays out when it's released in a couple of months. But overall, like as I said, like to me, this is a really fun role-playing game system. It seems to be fun to me. Solid for I think new players, veteran players, and obviously people who maybe are intrigued about role-playing games and want a familiar setting like the Marvel Universe. So, if you've been struggling as a game master as far as stories to tell, I think this is a really solid one to pick up, and it feels like a really great first adventure for this relatively new system. So, out now, you can go get it. It is in shops. We've got a link beneath this video where you can go purchase your copy. Many of them will probably be affiliate links, so we do get a small percentage by doing that. You'll support our site, so thank you for that. But just watching our videos, you support us, so thank you for that as well. If you want comic news, you can check us out every single day at graphicpolicy.com. If you want gaming news, check us out at boardgametoday.com. You can find both sites on Facebook, YouTube, Tumblr, Twitter, like everywhere, just everywhere. TikTok, Threads, Blue Sky, all that stuff. All at their respective names. And as always, until next time, keep rolling that dice, keep reading those comics, get your game on, and keep it geeky. Hey, thanks for watching the previous video from Graphic Policy Television. Just by watching, you help support our site. Thank you so much. Now, if you're watching these videos, you probably care about geeky things like movies, television, comic books, toys, games, video games, you name it. You can go and subscribe right now to our YouTube channel to stay in touch and catch all the new videos, or check out our website at graphicpolicy.com. There's a nice link on this end of the video. But as always, thank you for watching. Keep on rocking and keep it geeky.